I'm Dan from H Valley Tools, and today we're going to be talking about tongue and groove bits. At H Valley Tools, there are a lot of bits to choose from. There are over 1,100 in stock. We also make custom bits, so if you are doing some specialty application, you need some special molding bit or anything made, give us a call. We can work with you and design custom bits that you can just take home, specific for your project, which is huge, and not a lot of people are going to be able to get those kind of bits. So the thing we're talking about today, though, are the ones that we have in stock for very different applications. So the first ones we're going to be talking about, these two over here. These are your standard tongue and groove bits. So you have the one that's cutting the slot and one that's cutting the groove. So what's nice about the larger ones, so these beefy ones over here. So if you're going from, an inch to an inch and 3/4, something like this, this is what that joint looks like. So there's not really much of a gap, just enough for glue to get in there. And the application for this is pretty wide. So the first one that comes to mind is just a tabletop or a countertop or something that you really want to be flat but really have a lot of strength. So when you talk about these kind of bits, edge grain to edge grain glue joint, very strong. What's even stronger is face grain to face grain. So when you have this type of bit and you throw some glue on this side and you get that together, you're having glue surface here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 surface areas, glue surface areas just for this one joint. And it also allows a ton of alignment. So without any glue, without any clamps, you can barely, force that to come out of flat. So now when you compound that with all these end glue, you know that your tabletop is going to stay flat, which is fantastic. Same thing with the smaller one, 1/2 inch to 1 1/4 inch. Same kind of application, just slightly smaller slot, smaller groove there. So again, tabletops, if you want to show the joint at the end and just make it a straight glue up, straight panel glue up, that's fine. You can do this and then throw breadboards on the end if you don't want to see the actual joinery there. Mission style, shaker style doors, perfect application for this. And honestly, you're not going to get a stronger joint with alignment. You're not going to get the same strength if you're using, loose mortise and tenons, dominoes, biscuits, dowels. You're not going to get the strength that you get from these. Also to keep in mind, because you're removing so much material at once, these are really meant to be used in a router table. You're not really going to be free-forming, white oak, hogging out that much material. Just for safety, this is really for a router table. So these are two bit sets that you can use depending on your stock size. So the next tongue and groove set is for flooring. So you can make your own flooring. It really isn't that hard outside of having flat stock and the right bit. So specific to this tongue and groove flooring set, you can use it from 5/8 inch thick to 3/4 inch thick. And the nice part is, so this is the top once it's assembled. And here's what it looks like with the joint. So you have a rounded tongue on here. That is for, especially if you're not even doing straight flooring, if you're doing like a herringbone pattern, you get close to the wall, you just need that last piece to kind of slide in. This allows you to slide it in and get an angle to put it in against the wall. The other nice thing that we'll show you up close here in a second is there's this little piece. So this really is meant so that you would have the tongue on one side, the groove on the other, just like typical flooring, commercial manufactured flooring that you would see. But then right here is a little notch, and the reason is for the flooring nailer. So as you're going through and you're putting this down, your flooring nailer can slide in here and at that angle nail this to the floor without cracking the wood. So then you come in with your next one, slide that right in, hammer, and then this would have the same profile on the other side. And you can just go make your way through the floor. Again, with something like a cool herringbone pattern or something that's decorative in the middle of the floor, you can kind of put that tongue and groove in any of the 4 sides, which is really, really cool. And then what's nice also, on the bottom, you have this expansion gap. So obviously wood moves. Even if you're nailing it to the floor, Believe me, if you've done it super tight in the winter and then summer comes along and you see it start to pucker and start to buckle a little bit, it absolutely moves. The reason for that gap is so that it allows it to move a little bit, just enough so that you're not going to have it really, lifting up off the floor even though it's nailed down. So that just allows this to stay, so once your floor is installed, it's going to remain installed. You don't have to redo stuff later on. So super convenient to make your own flooring. And you're a woodworker, you can make your own flooring, it's no problem. So that's this bit set. So what we have next is a tongue and groove with a V-notch. So this is what it looks like. And this is really for, this is not for strength. So you can see this has a much smaller tongue on this one. It's rounded off, and there is a good expansion gap in the middle, and honestly a spot for glue, even though you don't typically use glue with this bit. So what is this for? This is for wall paneling, ceiling paneling. If you want something that's decorative, so you have this V groove here. It still has the alignment, so it really stays in line without much fuss there. The thing is, depending on the height of the bit is really where the groove goes, how deep you want that V groove to go. So the tongue and groove and slot and everything is going to essentially follow it, obviously. So if you go shallower, it's going to be up closer to the top. If you want to go deeper like this, same thing. It's for stock, it's 3/8 inch to 3/4 inch, just like the previous bit. So again, with this one, you're really going to be nailing this or whatever to the wall, to the ceiling. It's kind of an alternative to shiplap. It gives you those vertical lines. You can do this on the back of, if you're doing like an entryway casework or cabinet where you're putting coats or something. A lot of times you'll have those vertical lines built into the back wall that get painted or stained. This is cherry. I would just finish this because it looks gorgeous. But it gets those vertical lines and you still have the alignment. The nice thing is that because there's a little bit of a gap there, if you have any kind of unevenness of the wall, if it's not super flat, ceiling is not super flat, you're always going to have a little bit of variation. It gives you a little bit of wiggle room there to kind of follow the curve of the wall. So again, you don't really need glue on this. It's not typical for that kind of application. You really just nail it in, but you can. So this is a really good decorative thing where strength is not, the highest priority. And the last bit set is very similar. So again, tongue and groove with a V-notch. This one is for the larger stock, so from 5/8 inch to up to an inch thick. V slot right here. The difference here is that you're having a squared off tongue and groove. So as the previous one, it was a little rounded and gave you a lot more variation. This one is a lot stiffer and gives you a lot of glue surface area similar to the standard tongue and groove bits. So here you have a lot of glue surface on top and bottom, and then you still have that V groove. And again, this adjusted height, shallower, deeper, doesn't matter, it really kind of follows wherever you're setting it. Super great. Same thing for walls, for ceilings, if you're getting that really thicker stock. And just a really nice decorative look, but with the added strength. So another great option. So these were just the tongue and groove bits. A lot of variations for a lot of different applications. Again, we have over 1,100 in stock of different kind of router bits. Call if you want custom bits made. Totally possible. But they're all available online and in store.